Yeah. So at John Harbaugh's Monday press conference, there was a point in there where he said that with the fans, he hopes that they still keep some confidence in them because they've been down roads like this before. And he hopes that people can keep the faith in him and the team, knowing that they've hit hard times before and they've been able to pull out of it. And I thought Jeff Zrebiec did a good job in his column this morning talking about some of those past hard times that John Harbaugh has been able to pull the Ravens out of. Just to kind of go back, remember, Bobby, I remember covering this team the Super Bowl year. I am letting you know now that did not look like a Super Bowl team to me. In fact, I remember the Ravens lost 3 in a row late in the season. And I remember like the picture from the season was Joe Flacco throwing an interception, trying to tackle the pick six, but he didn't. And he fell on the turf and his face was in the ground. And that was the image all over newspapers the next day. It was all over websites. And I don't even think social media was that big back then. I mean, it was around, but not that big. But John Harbaugh fired his offensive coordinator mid-December. And they went on and won a Super Bowl. There's 2 times that they had 14 regular season game, or they won 14 regular season games, and they started out with bad seasons. In 2018, they were 4-5. Lamar Jackson came in, helped save the day for sure, and they went on to win 6 of their final 7 games. And then they also won 8 of their first 11 back in 2021, despite losing their entire backfield. I remember the entire running back, all the running backs were out. Wide receiver Rashad Bateman was out. Nick Boyle was out. Left tackle Ronnie Stanley was out. Marcus Peter was out. And they still won 8 of their first 11. And they finally didn't get knocked out until Lamar himself was injured. So, yes, John Harbaugh has brought them back from bleak scenarios before. But as Jeff Zrebiec wrote in his column this morning, this one, maybe it's recency bias, but this one feels worse because it's not 1 or 2 messes. There's fires that he has to put out everywhere. A defense that is the worst in the league. An offensive coordinator that apparently isn't sticking to the plan. He himself not having the optimistic culture that you would like to see. There's players frustrated left and right, throwing helmets and slamming him. Derrick Henry crashing out. Lamar Jackson throwing his helmet. Leaders not talking to the media after losses, some of them because they're injured. Like, he goes and he talks about how both coordinators deserve criticism. But then Jeff Zrebiec got to his main point, which is this. He says, any of the coaching criticisms needs to start with Harbaugh himself. He's the guy who hired both Monken and Orr, choosing the latter, even though there were plenty of more experienced candidates who would have loved a shot at carrying on the Ravens' storied defensive tradition. He's the guy who is responsible for overseeing the game plan. If he didn't like how Monken was approaching the Chiefs' blitz or short yardage situations, or he was wondering, like everyone else, why Derrick Henry was spending so much time on the sideline, he would have been the guy to say something and demand adjustments. How the team plays is the reflection of Harbaugh and the things like preparation and toughness that he so often preaches. When the team loses its identity in game and strays from what it does best, which has happened in several big games in recent years on Harbaugh's watch, that's on the head coach. That Harbaugh has garnered the lion's share of criticism for the Ravens' 1-3 start isn't at all surprising. It says the sect of Ravens fans who believe the Ravens should move on from the 18-year head coach whose team won a Super Bowl following the 2012 regular season grows every year. It's never been louder, even though owner Steve Bisciotti signed Harbaugh to a 3-year extension 6 months ago. He goes on to say that, of course, other people share the blame. He says Eric DaCosta did not invest into the trenches. He says that Eric DaCosta has used first or second round picks on edge rushers like Odafe Owe, David Ajabo, and Mike Green, and they have a combined 0 sacks in 4 games. So he puts it on EDC too. He says players need to take accountability. There's Derrick Henry's fumbles. He talks about Tyler Linderbaum, who's a Pro Bowl center. He's been getting, he hasn't been playing super well. He's been knocked back. Hamilton hasn't been playing up to his normal standards. All of it. So he does say other people need to step up too. It's not just Harbaugh. He says, but leadership needs to come. Can we get that logo off real quick? I can't read.
Yes,
I
we
can't see it.
can.
Sorry. Leadership needs to come from more than just the coaching staff. He says, ultimately, though, it's Harbaugh's job to lead the Ravens out of this mess. He and his staff need to find a way to get more out of their roster and put players in position to succeed more often. They need to find a way to get guys playing with more physicality, poise, and purpose. They need to prevent losses that are avoidable. Even if it means finding a way to win a game or two with Cooper Rush, Harbaugh must keep the team afloat until it presumably gets healthier following the bye week. He's done it before. One of his biggest challenges will be doing it again, because if this tailspin continues, the offseason changes within the organization could be wide-reaching, obviously implying that those changes could include John Harbaugh. If he doesn't meet this make or break career moment right now, it's a uphill climb, but it starts with him. And I don't think that anybody could have said it better than what Jeff Zrebiec just did, Bobby.
I think it's extremely well said. I think it meets the magnitude of the moment. This is, Sarah, in a lot of ways, a make or break, not necessarily career moment, but in the here and now. Like, this will.
It is a career moment because his career, his job is on the line. I think that's what I mean by it.
Right. To be clear, I don't think his legacy is on the line. Will it be part of his legacy? Absolutely.
Fair.
But I don't think his legacy as a Super Bowl champion, as he is on the line, so to speak. Now, you get into a category where you got 2 under your belt, we all know that you're sitting at a different table that you are right now. And it hasn't been good enough in the postseason, much like it hasn't been good enough in Pittsburgh. They haven't won a postseason game since 2016, if memory serves. So clearly, over the last decade plus, he has underperformed in the month of January. We know that. Sarah, with all of this in mind, it is a tall task for him, and there is a sense of urgency. Practice reports have just come out. Okay, this is the tall task that's in front of him in terms of who he looks to be without, at least to start this week off. Bo Smoka, one of the Ravens reporters, I should say a beat reporter for PressBox, has the attendance in terms of who he has not seen at the media portion viewing of today's practice to start off week 5. Lamar is among that. Of course, he headlines this list, and we know that this isn't a surprise. Roquan Smith expected to miss a few weeks. Nate Wiggins with the elbow. We don't know what his status is, but he's not at practice. Cheeto Awuzie is a new name on this list, Sarah. Pat Ricard. Yeah, I know. Cheeto's one of the bright spots, matter of fact, when it comes to the secondary so far this year, all things considered. Pat Ricard is not visible at this portion for the media, nor is Marlon Humphrey, Ronnie Stanley, and also a new list, and a new name on this list, I should say, is Devontae Walker. So that's where things are. I'm sure you have some other thoughts, not only on the list, but to wrap up the Jeff portion of it. He hit it nail on the head, but this is the up-to-date practice report from day one leading into Texans week.
I'm laughing because it's to the point that it's like, it's so bad that you can either be miserable or like it's just unbelievable at this point. This is why they just signed another defensive back whose name you have pronounced very well, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but it's Wiggins, Humphrey, and Cheeto. So you've got Alexander, who's still coming. Who knows how long Jair Alexander can last, by the way. I mean, I don't know. Oh my goodness, TJ Tampa's going to be out there for sure.
Yep.
This new guy, what's the new guy's name again?
I was going to say, so to be clear on a couple things, and I do think there's a couple positives that we can add into this as well in just a second.
KVN's there. KVN's on this list.
I was going to say, that's one of them. So Amani Oruwariye, okay?
Okay.
Oruwariye. Somewhere Jerry Sandusky's like, are you kidding me right now?
We call him Double A. Let's call him Double A.
You know, Amani is the newest defensive back signed to the practice squad. We'll see if he gets called up. There's a reason, obviously, much like last week, like we talked about, Josh Tupou and Taven Bryan. Josh was called up as a game day activation, and then Taven wasn't, but both of them were obviously available at this point in the process within the NFL calendar for a reason. On top of this, yes, Kyle Van Noy, and when I say on top, let's just add in a couple positive wrinkles or at least positive signs to start off the week. Kyle Van Noy is back at practice, according to reports. Travis Jones is back at practice, according to reports. And we already mentioned earlier on in our live stream that Emory Jones window for his ramp-up period being activated off of non-injury, what is it? NFI.
Non-football injury list.
Thank you. He has returned to practice to make his practice debut as one of the rookies. So anyway, that's where things stand right now. Yes, there are a couple new names on this list, which just worsens what you thought couldn't get worse or wasn't even possible. But this is where they stand right now on Wednesday.
Okay, so Travis and KVN are back. I do anticipate KVN playing. He returned last week. They didn't push it. So I do think he could be back. So
but when you say returned, he was on the field pregame working out.
No. He was back on Friday.
Oh, you're talking about practice. Okay.
Yes, practice. Yeah.
Obviously didn't play in the game. We all know that.
Right. He was back last week in terms of practice, but then they didn't push it and put him in the game. So I do think this time around he will play in the game. Travis being back on a Wednesday is a good sign that he will play in the game. So, I mean, look, every little bit helps for sure. But this underscores yet again the topic at hand, which is that this is like all of these other scenarios where John and the Ravens had to dig themselves out of holes. This one does feel worse. It's like your franchise quarterback is down. Look at this list right here. You're getting beat up in the trenches, and there's friction between you and your offensive coordinator. So, and what's the narrative between John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson? We know it. The narrative is that Lamar Jackson saved John Harbaugh's job. John's going to have to save it on his own this coming week. He's most likely not going to have Lamar Jackson there to help him. John is going to have to figure this out. So, but if you look at it in John's point of view, and this is gut check time for him. This is as gut check as it gets. There for sure is a path. If you're John Harbaugh and you're like digging down and you say, I'm going to save this season, he's got to get one of the next two games before the bye. And
you have to.
Texans feels like the best chance because they're also 1-3 and they're coming to M&T Bank Stadium. Like this is your best chance. Get this win. Dig deep and find a way, John. Let's control time of possession with your running backs. Let's have two running backs back there multiple times. Like, do what you got to do. And like Femi said, then every once in a while, Zay's going to leak. Mark's going to leak. Bateman's going to leak. You're going to find that off of the play action. Here's the thing. It's not just John Harbaugh who has to find the hope. Even Nick Wright of First Things First says that if they can come back healthy, and this is what happened. Remember I said in the Super Bowl year, they did not look like a Super Bowl team, but then all of a sudden, Terrell Suggs came back from injury. Ray Lewis came back from injury. Joe Flacco started playing out of his mind. Like these guys that are the list should be back after the bye, the vast majority of them. And so assuming that they come back, it's not just John Harbaugh that can see the hope. It's Nick Wright. Let's flash back up the slide of the schedule, Bobby, because Nick Wright's going to be talking about the schedule.
It was like most teams that go 1-5 are bad teams. What you're thinking is, like the Ravens,
if
they go 1-5. But hold on.
But here's the thing. There's a certain point you have to look in the mirror like, hold on. No. Are we the bad team? It's like the end of I Am Legend. Will Smith is like, hold on, I'm the bad guy. The zombies are good.
Here is what I do think. Even at 1-5. Let's say they lose to the Texans. Going into the Rams game, it's like, is Lamar going to play? Is he not going to play? He's on the brink, doesn't play, and they lose. But that makes us believe he is going to be full strength starting with the Bears game.
Yep.
I do think I will pick the Ravens to win their next 6 games, hands down. I will pick the Ravens at home off a bye against the Bears. The Dolphins, I don't believe, are good. The Vikings, we'll see, but Wentz has been underwhelming, to say the least. The Browns are all – I know the Browns the Browns are bad. Yep. The Jets haven't won a game. And the Bengals, who even knows who their quarterback will be. So I do think it would be reasonable, even with this bad defense, for 1-5 to turn into 7-5. Yes. I could see that. I just think it's that last part of the parlay that is so hard.
So if Nick Wright can see it, and obviously in the beginning, here's the stats. Teams that start 1-5, only 1.9% have made the playoffs. It's that golden sliver in that pie chart. The purple is the 98.1% that missed the playoffs. And I loved how Chris Wilde was like, what's that movie where like it's got the movie with Nazis in it, and then at one point a Nazi was like, wait, we're the baddies? like Chris Wilde's like, maybe the Ravens are the bad team.
Kevin Wilde. Yeah.
Kevin Wilde. But maybe they're not the bad. Who knows? Maybe they're not the bad team. That's what John Harbaugh believes. Okay, we're talking about his job being on the line. If he believes they're not the bad team, and by the way, these stats are with 16 game seasons. Okay, they get another game chance. So the stats maybe they have a 4% chance instead of a 2% chance if they start out 1-5. But even Nick Wright sees a 6-0 return from the bye. And it's not crazy if Lamar and these other guys return. The Bears, the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Browns, and the Jets, and the Bengals who are missing Joe Burrow. Then you got to worry about the back end, but then you take it one step at a time or one bucket at a time in this season. That's the way John Harbaugh has to look at it. That's it. That's like, I got to keep them afloat. And this is them saying if they come out 1-5, we're saying John Harbaugh's got to get 2-4. But if he can get 2-4, they absolutely can rip off 6 wins with Lamar Jackson and company returning. Like, that's not crazy to say, right?
No, and it just further emphasizes the importance of this, the magnitude of this week, the importance of this week. And I just wanted to wrap up one other note here on, again, this up-to-date injury list and attendance that we've gotten from the beat reporter community within the last few minutes. Jeff Zaribek noted a little observation on Devontae Walker, Sarah, who was one of the couple names that are new, right, to the lack of attendance list, if you will. Cheeto being another one of those. Jeff says Walker was walking. Devontae was watching practice from the sideline. Seemed to recall him hobbling off on a kickoff early in Sunday's game. Might explain why he only played 4 offensive snaps. So, just so we're being thorough, yes, the Cheeto name is new on this
list.
Yeah, on this absent list from practice to start off the week. Yes, Devontae is new. All the other ones are not. So just something to watch as the week starts to progress, Sarah. And is there anybody feeling worse other than the guys that are injured than Chris Broussard?
This was funny. Chris is finding a way to milk this shtick. We know that he loves to have on that Ravens robe. He picked the Ravens, I believe, to win the Super Bowl. Did he do it again this year? I know he did it last year. And so last week he came out with crutches and Band-Aids looking beat up. This week he came out on life support. He's in the hospital bed. He's got a doctor behind him. He's got the breathing mask on. They say, hey, are you okay? Raise your, he puts a thumbs up that he's good. And if you want to hear a little bit of it, for copyright reasons, we'll keep the screen grab on here. But here's how his shtick went down, his latest iteration of
Drew's like most teams to go 1-.
Wrong one.
Wow, those Lions are brutal. Before I could even get the word sandwich out of my mouth, they jumped on me.
Did they?
They stripped me of my robe.
Oh my goodness. But thankfully you got it back.
They plopped down on my couch. They made me turn on 8 Mile, the movie with him and
Okay, that was the Detroit Lions one. I pulled in the wrong one, but you get the shtick. He was on life support, and that's what we all are on. That's what the Ravens are on. That's what John Harbaugh is on. It's in Baltimore. We're all on life support, and we're just waiting to see. It's like, are we gonna have to pull the plug after the Texans, or can we actually resurrect this season back to life? That's gonna be on John Harbaugh to do.